Are you what you are as a human being in relation to God who made you and who sustains you and who gives you breath day by day? Or are you the mere product of chance in a meaningless world? That is one of the central issues in the intellectual battles of our day about the meaning of our own lives as well as the meaning of the world. So let's take briefly those two aspects, and it's basically the difference between, are you in a universe that is personally crafted and personally ruled by a personal God, or is it ultimately of impersonal origins, and that personality, whatever that is a kind of out-of-place product in an impersonal world with no personal origins. So those are the two things. And part of the thing is that then if you think that on the personal side, then if we have a personal origin and a personal God who's personally involved in ruling the world, then persons are not reducible simply to molecules. The molecules are, in a sense, in the service of you, molecules of your own body, rather than you in the service of the molecules. And it means persons are special, right? Because they're special in the sight of God. They stand out from everything else in the world, however big or however small. And in terms of morality, I'm not keeping up with my clicks here. In terms of morality, it means the persons are responsible to their creator. The morality and moral standards make sense. There's a difference between right and wrong in human affairs. Well, suppose, on the other hand, that our origins are simply impersonal. Persons then are an accident, as this one anthropologist said, and persons are on the level fundamentally with everything else. There's nothing except this random processes that would make us any different. There may be features that we notice, but in the end, everything is on the level of everything else. And you might have to, what is responsibility? It's hard to give meaning to that. I mean, it's not that atheists don't, but I think they're really borrowing from Christian ideas at that point. What does responsibility mean if it's really all molecules in motion? The molecules don't feel responsible. So that goes back to this basic question then, and let's deal with the central questions at issue out of that. I've listed 3 of them there. The central questions of chance or God, gradual growth of a distinctively human race out of past history by simple gradual steps without God's guidance. Or are there perhaps gaps of various kinds in the so-called tree of life, right? Is it really a tree with no gaps, or really is it with human beings that is distinct? And are we slimy? Or, as the alternative, are we originally good and then fallen away from that goodness? So, if the origin of the whole universe and then of human beings as well is impersonal, what are the answers to those questions? Well, the fundamental answer on the matter of chance is, yeah, you are a matter of chance. You are an accident. And on the issue of origin, you are an ape, a very intelligent ape. But basically, you're an animal alongside the other animals. And the slime, that's even more devastating, I think, because if slime is part of your nature, there's no escape. And what you are is what you are, and apart from escaping into some other form of existence entirely, you are the product of this past, which is tooth and claw. And the slime is in you as part of your innate character. Now take the next picture here, and that is, suppose that, and which I believe, suppose that the origin is personal, in charge of a personal God, then it means that you are, from the very beginning, related to God, in relation to God. Even if you're rebelling against Him, you still cannot escape the fact that you are made in relationship to Him. You are, in a fundamental way, higher than animals because you are personal, right? You have personal thoughts and you have abilities to think about religion and about the existence of God. You have pictures of the far future that you can have in mind. You can do things that animals do not do. And also on this really area of depression versus hope, if you were originally made good back in the beginning days of the human race, Adam and Eve, the Bible says, you can read it in Genesis 2, were created, and they were created in relationship to God. They did not have the tendencies to rebellion and selfishness and murder. Murder happens after the fall very quickly. They did not have those things in them. But then they fell away from that original condition. But if the original condition was actually good, then it means that what you are now is not, it's not built into your very nature, the rebellion and sin and selfishness that characterize human beings today. There's the possibility of escape, and the Bible, if you read it, tells you the story of not only the possibility, but the actuality of what God has done to bring you to an escape. So it's a very different view of who you are, and frankly, a lot more hopeful than if there is no escape from the slide, because that's what you are. So let's look now at the context for doing science itself. Science is only possible if certain things are already there in the universe and in us. What things? Well, at a very general and fundamental level, you have to have three things. You have to have a world that can be explored. Now, the existence of the world, we're not going to focus on that, but it's really a mystery. How did the world come to be? And you've probably heard about the Big Bang, but that's an embarrassment, actually, for atheists and for people who want to think that matter is ultimate, because matter is not ultimate. It wasn't always here. How did it come to be? And how did it come to be with the complexity that we see around us? And then the second thing you have to have is laws. E is equal to mc squared. Well, that's just one. Right? But there are all kinds of laws of science that scientists have discovered that express the regularities of the world. If the world were pure chaos, science would be impossible. There would be nothing really to generalize about, no laws to discover. But the world has enormous number of complicated and fascinating regularities to it. The very existence of a species, for instance, in biology, is a regularity. Right? You can classify the animals. It's not just random. And finally, you have to have people. You have to have people who can think about the world and who can themselves creatively come up with formulas and expressions, linguistic expressions of regularities that correspond to the things that they are observing in the world. Now, you can't have science if you don't have all three of those.